I'm just going to add the solidify modifier first, and then apply it. I'm going to move it up. If you grab this here, you can drag it up and just move it above the other one. So now the mirror's down here and the solidifies up here because you want there's a stack flow that you kind of want to follow, and you want to apply the modifiers in order from top to bottom. So apply, and then so that gives us the solidify and the seams marked on both sides of it. Before I do that though, I am going to mark a seam right here. Mark seam, and I'm going to mark one on the back side too. Right here, mark seam. That way when we unwrap it, this edge that goes all the way around gets separated into two pieces, and it's just not one big long huge giant piece. It'll be two long pieces. Now we can go back in object mode and apply our mirror, and now the wings are both done. Alt H to unhide the thorax. We can go to our legs and apply those modifiers, and our antennae, apply those modifiers, and the eyeballs, apply him, and I believe that's all of them. Okay, we've got our butterfly all unwrapped and ready to go. So I'm going to fix some of these little issues here. So these things are a little high, so I'm going to hit GZ and move them down a little bit so they're in the head. The legs, are they in or are they out? The legs look like they're good. This one's not. So I'm just going to hit tab 1, grab those, and Alt Z, grab those, and make sure I grab those. And I'm just going to scale them on the Y just a hair to get them inside. SY, that'll do. Alt Z, and I'm pretty sure the nose was not in his head, so I'm just going to move that up just a hair and get it inside. That way it doesn't look like there's no gap there. Alright, so the legs, the proboscis, and the antennae are all going to get round wrapped at the same time, and they're all going to be the same color. So I'm going to select all of those and Control J to join them all together. Then I'm going to hit Tab. Actually, let's just go into UV editing with that selected. So hit A, and that'll show you all of that. U, and unwrap. And that gives us all of that. And I'm okay with it. It's just all going to be black, so it should be fine. Go to Layout. We'll go to the Material Preview. And we'll go down here to the Materials property. Hit New. And we'll just change the color to a darker color. And turn the roughness down a little bit. Turn the specular up a little bit. And that'll give it a shinier look. That's probably a bit too shiny, but let's go into cycles and see what's going on. So click your top rendering engine or rendering property tab, go to cycles and GPU compute. We are going to need a light, Shift A, light area, GZ, move it up, scale it real big, big. I'm going to move it up a little more. Flip your rendering to cycles and go to light and crank it up to like 30,000. That should do for now. I'm going to add a plane also and scale it up real big and move it down just so it lights up the butterfly a little better. And now you can see the color of those, and I like it. I think it looks great. If you want to adjust it, you can select it, go back to your materials property, scroll down, and you can mess with the specular and the roughness. So if you give it more roughness or less roughness, it'll make it more or less shiny. Same with the specular, it'll change it up a little bit. And I like the look of that. I'm happy with that. You can turn your overlays off to get a look at it without the all the grid and lines and everything. So those look really nice. Okay, so that's done. Let's go ahead and get our thorax unwrapped. So you can turn your overlays back on, select your thorax, uh, go into UV editing, and we'll zoom in on this. Hit A, U, and unwrap, and you get this. I'm going to make it easier on myself. I'm going to go up here to UV and turn constrain image to bounds. And I'm going to select this one, a vertex on this one, and hit L. And I'm going to hit GX, and I'm going to move it over here. And if you look, they're not lining up. But all you have to do is hit SX -1, and that'll flip it the proper direction. And then R180, and it should line up because it was upside down and inside out. So that lines that all up. And now we're going to go find us a texture. Okay, let's pop over to the internet, open your browser, and we're going to search for public domain black fur texture. And if you scroll down, you'll see this one here. I like this one. You don't have to use this one, just one that's kind of uniform and looks like bug fur. And go ahead and save that to wherever you want to save it. And also search public domain mesh texture, and I chose this one over here. I kind of liked how it looked, and we could change the color of it for our eye. So once you get those saved, go back to Blender, and we're going to go into shading. Make sure your material preview's on, and just click new with your thorax selected, and then select the green node, hit Control T, grab the purple one, move it up a little bit, zoom in on it, click open, find where you saved it, and apply it, and it goes on there. It looks pretty good, and I'm going to leave it that big because I want people to see the fur. And I'm going to grab all these guys and I'm going to move them over to the left. And I'm going to hit Shift A and use my favorite node, which is RGB curves. So select your RGB curves and just drop it on top of that line there. And that'll put it in, and we can select in the middle and add a little point, and we can darken it up a little bit. I'm going to turn my specular down and my roughness up a little bit to give it a more realistic look because it wouldn't be shiny. Then I'm going to go to my blue because my wings are blue, and I'm just going to tweak this around to make it more blue. And I think I want it a little darker than that. And then I can go to the red and I can take some red out of it and get the color I want. So the thorax is done. The head and the tail, I'm going to go ahead and join those two together. Control J, and they should be joined together. Check. Yep. So hit Tab A, and we're just going to unwrap those. They'll be fine because we're just going to add. See, we got an error here, non-uniform scale for the mesh. So if you go back in object mode, hit Q and all transforms if you have it set. If not, you have to use your. You have to go back to layout and object, apply all transforms. So going back to shading, and I'm just going to make this black. So I'm going to click new here to make a new texture, and I'm going to change the base color to a blacker color. And I'm going into rendered mode so I can see what it's looking like. And I think I'm okay with that. So I got the eye selected. I'm going to select new. I'm going to select my principal BSDF. Control T. Move this up. Click open. Desktop. There it is. And we got some eyes. We didn't unwrap them yet. So UV editing. Uh, make sure everything's selected. Hit U and unwrap. And back to layout and check it out. Looks pretty good. And let's give it some color. I think green, a greenish color would be good. So I'm going to grab these three, move them out of the way, get my RGB curves again, drop it in there, I don't think I need to darken it up, but I'm just going to grab the green and, oh yeah, it does need darkened up. Find yourself a nice way that you want it. Now you can get any grid color. Like if you find a better texture that you like, as long as it's like a bug looking grid, it'll be fine. I'm actually going to turn the specular up on it and the roughness down on it to give it some shine. Turn the overlays off so I can get a good look at it. And I'm pretty happy with that. I actually want to make them blue. Let's make them blue, so I'm going to Control Z that stuff. And make it blue. Try to get it to match the color. That looks good. Turn my specular back up, turn my roughness back down. And I think that looks really good. Alright, we got our butterfly looking pretty. Now let's get some wings on him. So if we go into edit mode and hit A, U, unwrap, that'll give us our unwrap. And go into shading, click new, Control T, add your butterfly wing texture. And for some reason mine was messing up. So when I add it, it doesn't do anything. But we have it on the plane down here. So since it's in the scene already, you can click the little drop down and find it and just click it. And it'll apply it to the wings. So now that that's on there, we can go back to UV editing and we need to get all these things straightened out. So um, I'm going to select the top one and rotate it on the Y by 180 and then scale it on the X by -1 to get it turned the right way. And I'm going to make sure my constrained image bounds is turned on so I can just slam it into the bottom and it'll line up. And then this one, the same thing. GX and just shove it over there until it stops. SY -1. Now just move it over. That's better. Alright, so once we have that, they're still all upside down because this is the wiggly part of the wing and that's the fat part of the wing. We're going to grab this, we're going to unconstrain it. So UV map unconstrain the image bounds. And we're just going to move all this mess out of the way for right now. Take all of this, move it over here, rotate it on the Y by 180, and SX -1 to get it orientated right. Scale it up a little bit, scale it on the X a little bit, kind of position it where it needs to go more or less. We can scale it on the Y a little bit, get it kind of close, and then turn on proportional editing and just grab it and just drag it where it needs to be. We're just going to work with that a little bit. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just get it inside so the white's not showing. That looks pretty good. Move this guy's over a little bit. That's poking out the white. And if you watch over here, you can see it taking shape. Everything's going where it needs to be. So when you grab this stuff and you move it, it moves it. So if you wanted more, you know, of the stuff there and maybe less of this down here, you can actually tell it what you want it to do. So I'm watching over here while I just move this around a little bit to place it where I want it. So now I got a nice little edge there. This up here looks a little goofy. If I can find it. There it is. And you guys can tweak his stuff till time comes to an end. Because you'll never get done. I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. So I'm going to go to my shading tab and make sure I'm in rendered mode and turn off my overlay so I can see it because I want to get. Oh, see, I got a white spot there. That's no good. I don't want that white spot there. So back in UV editing. And there it is right there. You see it? So we'll just grab that and move it. That's better. Back to shading. Turn the specular down, turn the roughness up because I don't want shiny wings. I want vibrant rings. And back to UV editing because we forgot this part over here. So we'll grab all this, turn proportional editing off, scale it down, kind of small, and just put it in a color like right here would be good. So I'm going to put it over here, rotate it, and that's coloring the outside edge of our wing.